Hey guys, real quick before we start the video, I want to direct you to the community tab on my channel. I am currently running an event for you, the viewers, to rate every single Monster Hunter monster from 1 to 5 stars. This project is going to be a bit of a run back from the 20th anniversary popularity poll and is meant to allow everyone to voice their opinion on every monster, so we can get a big picture look at how the whole community feels about the entire Monster Hunter bestiary. There will be a new poll on the community tab every single day at noon Eastern Standard Time, and all polls will remain live on the channel, so you can answer any of them at any time. You will not miss out if you miss the poll for the day. I will be updating numbers all the way from now until the end of October when the last polls have been run, and in October or November, we're going to have a massive video event where your comments will be read, all the numbers will be crunched, and the monsters will be reordered based on how you all voted. Every vote on every poll matters, and anyone has a chance to have their comment read in the video itself. And if you want to help me get more data and reach the broader Monster Hunter community, I'd appreciate a like on this video and, maybe hit the subscribe button to help this channel grow. It'll put me and this project in front of more eyes. Okay, no more YouTuber CTA shilling. Here's the video you actually clicked on. Thank you. Alrighty, this is gonna be 2 Connor weapons in a row. Good couple of days for me. Switch Axe is probably what you could consider my original main. Been playing it since Try. I've been loving it since Try. It's always a comfort pick in every single game I've played. And in a good chunk of Rise, it was just a straight up dedicated main weapon. Love that thing. So hard to tell exactly what to expect here from the Switch Axe in this game. What I'm kind of thinking is maybe off of like Rise, they might keep it so that the fluidity of the transformations and the efficiency of the transformations might retain. That was a thing that I really liked about the weapon in that game, is that they made the transformation feel like less of a setup and payoff via gimmick and more like an important part of the weapon to use a whole lot within the combat, moveset optimization notwithstanding. But it was just super simple to morph in and out and transform back and forth. Everything kind of morphed into anything kind of comboed into anything. Very, very fun weapon to play. So I'm hoping that a lot of that aspect of the weapon retains, but other than that, a little tough to guess exactly what we're getting into. So let's check it out. Okay. Alrighty. Cool looking. Another very purple monster, if this does indeed come from a monster. I'm kind of guessing it will. This seems very monstery, like that kind of like crescent moon bit for the axe blade looks. I think that's the axe. Kind of tough to tell. This one's, I doubt that's the sword. Right? And the way the dude's holding it, yeah, that's probably the sword mode that he's holding. So even though that looks like an axe blade up on the top, that is probably the sword mode. And then the axe blade proper is going to be that like crescent moon that looks like it's made out of some kind of claws or talons or whatnot. Kind of like in the, I guess you might say like Chinese emperor type of aesthetic going on. I'm assuming that male helmet's going to be one that kind of forces you to have a set hairstyle. Kind of like it with like the tiara going up there, like the headpiece that trails back to like the ponytail thing, and then that's just like straight up Sephiroth hair that he's rocking. Those gauntlets also look sick. Like the robes and everything. The female armor also looks great. Good headpiece on that. Love the designs on the waist piece. Yeah, very kind of like lavender coloration with like a little bit of teal and some black mixed in. It looks a little Mizutsune, but in my very, very rough understanding of garb, I think it looks maybe a little bit more Chinese than Japanese, though please be sure to correct me on that if that's wrong. But maybe. I think especially like the male headpiece itself is the kind of the direction that's taken me. Looks interesting. If this is from a monster and the hammer's from a monster, we got 2 brand new like purple monsters. That's kind of funky, I guess. Yeah, tough to tell exactly what we're looking at here. Looks good though. For sure. Let's see what's up. Alrighty. Yep, that's your sword. Crescent Moon is the axe. Alright, that looks like your normal Switch Axe type of stuff. I'm seeing Ice Burst as well. Alright, there's your Switch Axe sword attacks. Focus mode. Ooh, that looks nice and fierce. Into a very quick discharge. Some kind of parry counter attack, wild swing finisher. And the elemental effects on that sword look pretty gnarly. Okay. Not a whole too much new. Less little, like, repositioning side hops than I thought we were going to get, considering, like, everything else in this game. But I guess maybe Switch Axe just because it just kind of doesn't need that precision quite as much. You know, it's a big, swinging, heavy-hitting, huge, like, horizontal and diagonal chopping type of weapon. Maybe just doesn't really want that precision as much as some other weapons needs. A little tough to gauge. A lot of that stuff seems to be attacks and combos that we're really familiar with. Some stuff looked to be like the quick transformation that I remember from Rise. Looks like there's either a counterattack or a parry on there. The elemental effects look really good. Whatever our mystery monster is seems to be an ice one. Not a ton there that seemed super new. We'll figure this out. Yeah, okay. She was doing the wild swing combo with the crescent moon up, so I was right about that orientation. Swaps over. Very standard. Looks great. Overhead chop, side chop, super swing. So these are all axe attacks going on. Yeah, not a morph. Yeah, so big overhead chop, very simple switch axe combo starter. Goes into like your side chop. That looks like, it looks like one of the morphing attacks, but they just don't go full on with the morph. That kind of like double slash that they got going on. Yeah, they just don't complete the transformation. They stick in axe mode. That's something that you can morph into very easily, or morph out of very easily. They just don't for the purposes of this video. It just dodges back out of the way of the attack, so it's still kind of keeping its pretty good maneuverability. That was something that was always pretty cool about Switch Axes, along with the gimmicks. It had good range, good damage, and also just like perfectly decent mobility on it. Makes it a very pick up and play weapon. It does a lot of things really well. Alright, now we're going in with the sword attacks. If there's anything particularly interesting here. 2. It's your lock and attack that charges up your sword file a lot quicker. That seems to be the traditional combo right there. Lock. Boom. Yep, okay. So that seems, everything seems to be in order there. So here we have the focus mode. The focus mode pulls back, pulls the axe behind, targets looking like the arm, and just boom, 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 boom. Okay, so that's not a wound closer like a special focus attack. So kind of like Insect Glaive, it's looking like we're just getting special attacks out of focus mode, and focus mode is just going to do fancy new things all its own and give Switch Axe its own attacks out of that. So just like a really quick, savage looking axe combo into a transformation into a very, very quickly deployed elemental burst. 2, 3, 4, 5, transform, stab, boom. Cool. So probably something very quick, very ferocious type of combo. Probably gonna only takes like a second or two to get off. Probably not like the easiest thing in the world. You're probably gonna look for like a really good opening to pull this off, but it's not too fast, but it's also not too slow. Like, that's fast enough that I could see it feasibly being used on a monster that's standing up and not necessarily off of a knockdown. That's something you're definitely probably going to want to pull off a knockdown, but, like, if you bait an attack properly or something like that, that's fast enough that I could see you, like, actually applying that in the field. And then just how quickly the explosion pops off is really cool. Sucks that the quality of this trailer seems to be kind of, like, chunky kind of butts, honestly. So here's something pretty cool to check out. Wasn't expecting there to be too much Switch Axe DNA from Frontier in here because it's a very, very different beast in Frontier, but this focus mode and attack that we just covered looks a lot like a mechanic that is built into the Heaven style and eventually the Extreme style version of Switch Axe in Frontier. We have a very similar position you can see the Switch Axe being. This one functions very differently. This is a charge stance that builds up to a very rapid combo, but this is almost the exact same posture that the focus mode puts the axe mode into. The behind the back. Yeah, with this one you can walk around. He charges up, has different like levels to it. But it's that same behind the back posture. Now this functions differently because you're charging up a whole bunch of energy. But looking at this combo right here, again, functionally different, but it is, and this also swaps over into the sword mode, but this also has just a very rapid chop back and forth mashable combo out of the behind the back axe form. So again, this charges, this has to do with sword mode, but it's the same behind the back posture, and it's the same, or presumably same, mashable rapid combo. So you charge up into it, boom, 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 boom. Yeah, so looking at that, let me pull it up. All right, so here, right here. So the axe goes behind the back, very similar. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, not sure if that's a set amount of hits off of that, or if this is a mashable combo with a finisher that you input. But yeah, I like just take a look at that. Again, a lot of different mechanical aspects to it, but a lot of animation similarities and speed similarities. Pretty cool, right? Just so I don't have to come back over. You know what, we're just gonna talk about this right here while we're here, so I don't have to set up a second recording for this, but we'll be talking about the Swax counter in a little bit. This is the counter stance for the Switch Axe in Frontier. Again, definitely different. This is more like a deliberate block to it. The other one seemed to have like a little bit more of a swing to it, and it was also in sword mode. Again, it's a little tough to tell if the Swax one is a parry or a counter due to just like how close to the body the impact of it was, but just for like similarity's sake, this is what it looks like in Frontier. It also does not seem to quite have the same follow-up the one in Wild is going to have. Yeah, I don't know if this does follow up and she's just not doing it, but it doesn't seem to have it. It's also, again, this one functions very, very differently. It builds up to a whole different sword mode. Also, if we want to get like really kind of nitty gritty, there is some animation similarities between this out of running attack that you can get with the Frontier Switch Axe and the counter follow-up with the Switch Axe in Wilds. So looking at this thing, hit that double spin right there. That looks pretty similar to that double up right there. Just like kind of like the directional aspect of it. That one's in sword mode. The Frontier one's in axe mode. This one looks a lot quicker than the Frontier one. Comes out of a different circumstance, but again, seems to kind of be an animation that they took and repurposed. Little blurb of Frontier comparisons right here, just off of the focus mode thing. Just wanted to bundle them up right here. Back to the normal video. Alright, so that automatically transforms back. So this is our counter slash parry hit. Little tough to tell. Let me see here. So it looks like starts in sword mode. Paw comes down. Now, is this an intercept or a block? It's so pixely. It sucks. Paw comes down. Seems to be more of a block animation. Yeah, because we've seen a lot of parry attacks. It has in this game. One, they have a different looking effect. Like, it doesn't really have this kind of like blue to it. Two, they usually have a big knockback attached to it. So it looks like Switch Axe just has a straight up counter in this game. Definitely different than the one it had in Sunbreak. This one, you bring the sword around once. You bring the sword around twice. Double chop there. Yeah, I think this is more. This kind of looks. This kind of looks like the frontier counter stance that I think you normally countered off of the axe with that weapon. This one they're countering off of sword. It's hard to, because she starts to present the flat of the sword into the attack, so it doesn't look like a parry intercept. It looks more like a block counter. Let me. Maybe. Kind of presents the flat, but you know what? It's also going directly into a follow through into this behind the back position, so maybe she's going there. Hard to tell exactly if this is a parry or counter. Yeah, I think it's a counter. Because it doesn't intercept. It just kind of like it clangs off of that pullback animation into this, goes behind the back for a double chop off of that. Okay, yeah, no, I think that's just a counter for Switch X. Interesting, and it's definitely not the same as the Frontier one. Thank the animation to like actually like kind of catch the attack is a little similar. But this one's off of sword instead of axe, and it's not charging up the light sword mode. It's just doing a double spin hit. Thankfully, Switch X is a different weapon in Frontier. That thing ain't Switch X. It reminds me of that animation a teeny bit. Bonk. Yeah, it comes up. Boom. Boom. I'm going to assume, yeah, that's a lot less crazy than the counter that it gets in Rise. I'm assuming that's going to be probably going to be an automatic file charge for the sword mode, I think is maybe a safe bet off of that attack. Boom, boom. That looks like your ending of the Wild Swing combo. So that has kind of like a cinematic edge to the camera for a second. Yeah, like it zoomed in, and then it zooms out. But it looks like it's the ending of Wild Swing, so that might be something off of some kind of focus thing. I'll pull that back one more time. 2. Yeah, that almost has like, kind of like what Greatsword does, where it has the kind of like over the shoulder run animation. Yeah, like you see this. This has the pulled in camera that's very focused on the player. Then it comes crashing in axe mode because the half moon is out. And then it's kind of like Wild Swing, but just like so much crazier. You just see like the... How does a human body even fucking do that? Look at her flying. Comes up, comes down, boom. Yeah, so it's like the ending of Wild Swing, but just even like nuttier looking. And then that goes into what looks like the elemental file attacks off of sword mode. Yeah, so I think that's totally file mode, but it looks even like more explodey and more bursty than it usually does. Yeah, those have like explosions going off on them. That's an interesting detail to just kind of glaze over. These pauses look so awful. Is it just this trailer has such dog ass quality? I tried even reloading the video. Boom, boom. So for one, those combos look a little bit different. I'll take that slow. And just like how big and bursty and like explode effects those are. Is that just what like the files are gonna do in this game? It's not like there's no pulled in cinematic camera. Yeah, just boom, boom. Yeah, it looks so much bigger and so much more concussive. So are they just gonna like crack files up a lot, or is that something particularly special? Little hard to tell. This trailer is one of the tougher ones to decipher, I think, of exactly what's going on here. So it looks like there's probably a counter, It's not the nuttiest counter ever. I'm going to assume it's probably got some good amount of file charge to it. We didn't see too much morphing, honestly, of like the back and forth and really kind of playing around with that. Though there were attack animations that I recognized as stuff that you could very easily morph out of. So perhaps that style kind of sticks around. There wasn't a lot of new positioning type stuff. Honestly, a lot of the stuff they showed was very kind of bread and butter switch axe combos. Looks like you have a couple attacks that get your burst to detonate very, very quickly. Looks like the files might be just more powerful than they ever were, but they really just didn't elaborate on it. Yeah, not a whole lot of communication with this one. And then, the focus attack combo looks pretty sick. Looks potentially something you could feasibly pull off. Like, I feel like if you have like a really good read on like a Rathian Fireball or something like that, you could get a combo like that off of there. Yeah, a little tough to tell exactly what we're doing here. I'm interested, but I feel like this trailer did not communicate a whole lot of information about what this weapon does. I'm still excited for Switch Axe in general, but I don't think this trailer presented like new information super duper well, and really kind of, if the Switch Axe does have the transformation aspect kind of like Rise, I don't think they showed off that strength particularly well either, to be perfectly honest. Design still looks great. Yeah, normal morph. 1, 2, swinging it around. Doesn't complete the transformation, but that's fine. That's still there. Goes in for your quicker, faster sword attacks. That combo looks super normal. Really cool and crazy looking focus mode combo. There's your counter. Goes into the double hits. Cinematic wild swing. And just really crazy big bursty file attacks. Still looks cool, yeah, but it's tough to... There's definitely stuff that they are changing and they are adding, but they're not explaining it super well. So Switch Axe still looks great. Seems to still be kind of flashy, but I don't think this trailer was the most effective communicator. But let me know down below what you think. You're a big Switch Axe guy. Let me know if I missed anything, picked up on anything. All that good stuff coming up right here is going to be the breakdown of the Sword and Shield if you missed that. But as for right now, this has been CR-Volcanic or Connor. I'll see you around. Shout out to all the patrons, and special shout out to Nihilist Chimerax, Datboy Doin Ding, Sir Newt Newt, Peaberry, Stefan Colneen, Shaggy Grizzly, Psychotic Jester, Pecco Plush, Daniel Delasarte, and Call Sign Shadow. Thank you very much, everyone.